We're going to go ahead and install our cam position synchronizer that is located in your engine compartment and is down on the back side of the engine. And it is this unit right here with the electrical connector attached to it. We're going to use an 11mm socket. We're going to remove this nut right here. Go ahead and remove the stud behind it here. A 10mm socket. Let's go ahead and remove this bolt in the center of this connector. Now, removing this unit is not necessary. However, it is going to allow us for a little more easier access to the back of the engine without having this big bulky harness sitting there. So we're just going to tuck that off to the side. This is going to allow us easier access to the back side of the engine. What you do is you want to go ahead and disconnect this connector right here. There's a little pinch tab on the back side. We're simply going to press that down and wiggle that connector off like that. Just kind of tuck that off on the side. Now on the top is your actual sensor itself. There's going to be two little bolts right here, or screws. We're going to go ahead and use a 7/32 socket to go ahead and loosen and remove that. Now we can go ahead and pull that harness back a little bit more, try and get a better view of this. Let's go ahead and loosen those up the rest of the way. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and pop off the electrical sensor itself. Just gently rocking it back and forth and lift up on the sensor. Now on the inside of our synchronizer, we have a half-moon rotational component in here. Now what we want to do is we want to mark with a Sharpie marker the position of that, because that is going to be critical to the installation of our new part. Now this half right here on ours lines up perfectly with the center slot right here. And the other side of it right here, we're going to go ahead and mark with a point of the Sharpie marker. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a circle on this side here. That is going to identify this half is where it is positioned on the synchronizer. This side here has no markings, so that is going to be where the half moon synchronizer is not positioned in. Our next thing we're going to tackle is removing the bolt at the base here. We'll go ahead and remove this here and then pull the synchronizer out of the engine. We're going to use our 10mm socket with our extension. Get that on there. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove that bolt. Good, remove that bolt and washer. Before we remove this here, I'm going to go ahead and mark where the window is right here on our distributor or our electronic unit here. So if we bring that down, it's going to be right down over here. We're marking this with a crayon. And what the yellow mark is on our engine block is where this window is on our unit. At this point here, we can go ahead and work this unit up and out. Go ahead and grab our synchronizer here. And then twist that and rotate it up and out. Upon removal here, you have the gear down below here that actually will rotate as you pull this straight up and out, because this gear interfaces with another gear. So as you pull it up, it's going to rotate the shaft, and it rotates our center section right here. Now our half moon right here has been rotated out of position. Here is one mark right here that we did with the marker. Here's the other side over here that we did with the marker, and you can see that this is now offset. When we go to install the new part, what we're going to do is we're going to set it so that this is half off like this here. So when we drop it down in position, this gear will drop in and spin into position and lock in, and then it'll line up in the end just like ours was. Now here we have the top of our new component. You can see the half moon right here. And that, when you turn the lower gear, you can see moves. Now on our other electronic unit here, we have a line right in this notch, and the other is right in the middle over here. But what happens is when we go to install this here and we drop this gear in, if we put it in this way here, it's going to turn it this way, and it's going to put it out of sync. You're going to get a check engine light, possibly a no start or a run issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it back a little bit, and we're going to slowly drop this down inside the engine. As the gear engages with the other intersecting gear and we push this down, it should rotate that and put it into position for us. So what we're going to do next is going to take some motor oil and go ahead and soak our gear, get that coated up nice. Position this, and let's go ahead and lower this unit into the engine. There we have it. I want to go ahead and make sure that our window here lines up with our crayon mark down below. So we have that in position, and we have the half moon lined up with that little notch right here. Make sure that this is seated all the way at the bottom. Once this is seated, we're going to go ahead and install our anchoring bolt on the back side. Now using a mirror here, you can go ahead and see that our unit is lined up here. You also want to make sure that the base of it is seated all the way. If it isn't, you want to go ahead and give that a couple taps to go ahead and get that seated and get that rubber O-ring put down inside the engine. Let's go ahead and get that bolt installed, and then we'll go ahead and install our sensor. we're going to go ahead and get our bolt installed to the base here. We're going to hand tighten this down, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten that. I want to go ahead and make sure that's pretty snug, but not super tight. Once that bolt bottoms out, give it a good little quarter of an extra turn there, or half a turn. Now at this point here, we can go ahead and install our sensor on the top. Line that up, get that into place. Then we can go ahead and start threading in our bolts by hand here. Go ahead and tighten down these bolts here. Now these do not have to be super tight. Once these bottom out and they're a little bit snug, then you're good. I'm going to do this for both. Now that we're bolted down into place, we can go ahead and install our electrical connector right here. Go and install your bulkhead connector here. Once that's snug, we'll go ahead and install the backside here and our connector. Install the stud in the back here. And just snug that, and then we can go ahead and put our connector back on the top. Install the nut for that. I'm just going to spin that down as far as I can by hand. And then we'll snug that into place. And once we have that all set, we're going to go ahead and reconnect our battery. I'm going to start up the vehicle and check everything out.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.